Welcome back to the class, and now let us deal with a few more questions in the chapter reproduction. Okay, few questions, and next we shall continue with some more questions in the next class. Okay, so first off, how pollination is different from fertilization. So pollination is the process where the pollen grains, haploid pollen grains, are transferred to the stigma of the flower. If the pollen grains are transferred to the stigma of the flower, it is called self-pollination. If the pollen grains are transferred to the stigma of the other flower of the same species, it is called cross-pollination. Okay, so that is, pollination can be done by insects, small birds, etc., wind currents, etc. And fertilization is the process where the fusion of male and female gametes will take place. So pollination is the first step where pollen grains are transferred to the stigma of the flower, and the fertilization is the fusion of male and female gametes. Okay, that is the thing. Why DNA copying is essential part of the process of reproduction. So DNA, deoxyribonucleic acid. So it is the genetic material which is present in the chromosomes in the nucleus of the cell. So the DNA contains various genes which are transferred from parents to progeny or from one generation to another generation. So the characteristic features are hidden in the DNA, and DNA copying is very much essential for the transmission of characters from parents to future generations. That is the importance of DNA. Next, what is sexual dimorphism? Sexual dimorphism means if the organisms are having, say, one sex, male or female reproductive organs in one body, or if the organisms are having both male and female reproductive organs in the same body, that is called as, that phenomenon is called as sexual dimorphism. That means if the organisms are having either male reproductive organs or female reproductive organs, that is, those organisms are called unisexual organisms. If so, like all higher organisms like frog, aves, mammals, reptiles, etc. And if the organisms are having both male and female reproductive organs in the same body, they are called as bisexual organisms, and that phenomenon is called as hermaphroditism, and the organisms are called hermaphrodites. What is hermaphroditism? Means the phenomenon where the organisms are having both male and female reproductive organs in the same body. It is called as hermaphroditism, and the organs are called hermaphrodites. Hermaphrodites. So example, annelids, mollusks, etc. Okay, and what are secondary sexual characters? So sexual dimorphism, all higher organisms are having either male reproductive organs or female reproductive organs. Such organisms are called unisexual organisms. Or hermaphrodites means bisexual organisms. Okay, and what are secondary sexual characters? So the external features like size, color, shape, etc., by means of which we can identify a male organism from a female organism. Such characters are called secondary sexual characters. Okay. Next, what is ovulation? So ovulation, ova are produced in the ovary, in the fallopian tubes or Graafian follicles. The ova are produced in the Graafian follicles or ovarian follicles. So these ova are produced in ovarian follicles or Graafian follicles and released into the body cavity. So the formation and discharge of ovum is called as ovulation. Okay. And describe the structure of human sperm. Human sperm is a male reproductive gamete, and it is haploid in its nature. It is motile. They are produced in large number, and the sperm contains mainly head, neck, middle piece, and tail. And the anterior side of the head, a tapering structure is present, which is called as a acrosome, and it helps in the process of fertilization. Head contains a large nucleus, nucleus. Neck connects head and middle piece. Middle piece contains mitochondria, which provide energy for the sperm to move or swim. And tail helps in the process of movement or swimming. Okay, that is the structure of sperm. What is the function of seminal vesicles and prostate gland? So in human male reproductive system, a pair of seminal vesicles and one prostate gland is present. The secretions of these glands are called semen, and this semen provides nutrients to the sperms, and they also provide medium for the sperm to swim. And testosterone is a hormone produced by the testes, and the testis promotes the production of sperms. So the lifespan of sperms is 1 to 3 days, that is 24 to 72 hours. So seminal vesicles and prostate gland provide medium for the sperm to move or swim, and they also supply nutrients to the sperm. That is the function of seminal vesicles, where sperms are produced. So in the male reproductive system, a pair of testes are present. They are present in sac-like structures which are called as scrotal sacs. So in the testes there are small tubules are present which are called as seminiferous tubules. In the seminiferous tubules, large number of mitotic divisions and finally one meiotic division will take place, producing sperms. So sperms are haploid and they are produced in the seminiferous tubules, and they are collected by a tubule which is called as vasa efferentia, and then they pass on through epididymis where the sperms are stored temporarily, and then they pass through vas deferens, and then they enter into urethra. Along with the urine, they are sent out of the body. So sperms are produced in small tubules which are called as seminiferous tubules. How does embryo gets nourishment inside mother's body? So embryo is covered with two membranes, chorion outer membrane, amnion is inner membrane. So chorion develops finger-like projections. So that means actually fertilization takes place in the fallopian tube, and the zygote undergoes number of mitotic divisions and forms multicellular structure which is called as an embryo. So this embryo slowly moves towards the uterus of the mother, and this embryo is surrounded by two membranes, chorion and amnion, and chorion develops finger-like projections and establishes connection with the inner wall of the uterus of the mother, which is called as placenta, and that process is called as implantation. So progesterone is the hormone which helps in the process of implantation. Okay, so that is, and through placenta by means of diffusion, the embryo gets nourishment from the mother. That means it gets oxygen and nutrients from the mother, and the embryo. So after implantation, the embryo is called as a fetus. So this fetus gets nourishment, oxygen and nutrients from the uterus of the mother, and releases waste materials and carbon dioxide into the uterus of the mother. And there is amnion is another membrane which covers the growing fetus, and amnion encloses a fluid which is called as amniotic fluid, which helps in protecting the growing fetus from mechanical shocks and injuries. And then through placenta there is a cord, a structure, the thread-like structure is developed which is called as umbilical cord, which connects to the digestive system of the fetus. So through this umbilical cord, the growing fetus receives nutrients and oxygen from the mother and discharges waste materials into the uterus of the mother. So that is why through placenta and umbilical cord, the embryo, which is after implantation, it is called as a fetus, gets nourishment. Next, what is a menstrual cycle? So in the human female reproductive system, very small number of ova are produced. So two ovaries are present in the abdominal cavity on either side of the vertebral column, and one ovum produces one ovary produces one ovum. That means in the ovary there are sac-like structures which are called as ovarian follicles or Graafian follicles. So these ovarian follicles or Graafian follicles enclose only one ovum. When the ovum matures, the Graafian follicles rupture and release the ovum into the body cavity. So, and this ovum is captured by the funnel-like structure and it enters into the fallopian tube. So the fertilization takes place in the fallopian tube. If the fertilization does not take place, the ovum is discharged along with the inner wall of the uterus, that is endometrium, along with some amount of blood, and it is discharged out. So this ovum is released in the form of a cycle once in every 28 days. That is called as a menstrual cycle. So the ovum is discharged by the ovary after its maturation from the ovarian follicle or Graafian follicle once in every 28 days in the form of a cycle, which is called as a menstrual cycle. So where does fertilization takes place? In human reproductive system, the fertilization is internal. It takes place in the fallopian tube of a female reproductive system. So fallopian tube is a tube-like, is a duct where the fertilization takes place. Fusion of male and female gametes will take place. That is sperms and ova. Acrosome helps in the process of fertilization. And next one, what is implantation? That means implantation means the establishment of connection of the growing fetus with the inner wall of the uterus of the mother is called as implantation. So progesterone is a hormone which helps in the process of implantation. Actually, ovary produces in the female reproductive system two hormones are produced. That is estrogen and progesterone. Estrogen is responsible for the development of secondary sexual characters. And whereas progesterone helps during the time of pregnancy in the process of implantation. These are few important questions which we have discussed in this, and in the next class I shall deal with few more questions. Okay, hope you have understood, and we shall move on with some more questions in the same chapter, that is reproductive system. Okay, thank you.